Hi everyone, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is June 10th, 2021, and this is the day of the solar eclipse in Gemini. And it can almost feel like a solar eclipse in Pisces because there's a lot of Neptunian energy right now, and so we have a lot of mutability, and the eclipse itself occurred at 6:53 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 19 degrees and 47 minutes of the mutable air sign of Gemini. And Mercury rules the sign of Gemini, and Mercury is currently retrograde and transiting in Gemini in its dignity. It has been in Gemini since May 3rd, so it's been giving us a lot of previews of what this whole solar eclipse is, and what we are all working with this summer, because there's a lot of mutability. We have 3 points currently in the sign of Gemini. The North Node of Destiny is transiting in Gemini, so that's where we're all meant to go towards in terms of gathering and dispersing information, connecting to your local community, learning and up-leveling your social skills, contacting and networking with people, and really getting involved in learning in this new that we're all in. And it can feel really confusing because I cast the chart for Washington, D.C., and the solar eclipse again occurred at 6:53 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it formed a square to Neptune within 4 degrees. Neptune is currently at 23 degrees of the mutable water sign of Pisces, and it's going to retrograde on June 25th. So it's at the last degree it's going to be this year. And Jupiter is currently transiting in Pisces and will retrograde at 2 degrees of Pisces on June 20th, on the summer solstice. So we're feeling that energy strongly, and in the eclipse chart again it squares Neptune. And then later this morning, the moon met up with Mercury at 8:37 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and the moon went void of course at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time with a square to Neptune. So that really pronounces the very Neptunian and Piscean energy. And to be honest, I almost feel like it's an eclipse in Pisces right now because there's a lot of duality. Venus is currently transiting in the cardinal water sign of Cancer. So it's not in Gemini, it's in a sign that likes to nurture and take action and is very family oriented. But it's out of bounds, which means it exceeds the sun's path by declination and acts out of control. So we've got Venus out of bounds, we've got Mercury, which rules the North Node, Mercury, the sun and the moon all transiting in Gemini. And then we've got Jupiter and Neptune transiting in the sign in Pisces. So this can have us in so many different directions, and I'm sure a lot of you have been feeling that way, where either there are a lot of thoughts and ideas that definitely can come to you. And in the eclipse chart, all of the Gemini influence is in the 12th house. The chart has Cancer rising, and whatever rules the rising sign rules the chart. So the moon is the ruler of the chart with Cancer ascendant, and then the moon is in Gemini with the North Node and Mercury and the sun all in the 12th house of hidden information, which uncovers things that we need to know in our life, helps to dispel the myths, helps to bring things to light for all of us, which eclipses do anyway, but it can be really tricky. It's very scattered energy, and I'm sure, I know I feel it, I'm sure many of you feel this way. And remember that Mercury is a player in this eclipse chart. Mercury is only a degree away. It's at 20 degrees of Gemini. It's only a degree away from the new moon eclipse. The solar eclipse is always a new moon eclipse when the moon aligns itself between the earth and the sun and cuts off the light from the sun and brings things to light. And the nodes of fate are close to the sun and the moon, bringing fated opportunities and beginnings and endings. And again, eclipses make us see things in a way that we've never seen them before. And sometimes it can be shocking. Definitely squaring Neptune can be very emotional. Neptune rules our dreams, it rules emotions, it rules the very sensitive and psychic and creative water sign of Pisces. And we have to tap into the dream. And as much as there's very cerebral and intellectual energy in this chart, in the solar eclipse in Gemini, very much connected around learning and teaching and writing and communication of all forms. So that's definitely an emphasis, but very much in the sense of listening to your intuition. There's wisdom in your inner voice as much as there is in the intellect. And so I think sometimes people underestimate that. So pay attention to the messages, to your inner wisdom. Definitely, obviously, tap into the logical, but try to do a little bit of both. It's an amalgam of both of this eclipse, because as much as we want to go with the brilliant and cerebral energy of Gemini, which is very strongly pronounced, we also have to go into the very strong Neptunian creative consciousness with this. And I think that is what Jupiter in Pisces is inviting us to do, because Jupiter will be in Pisces until July 28th, so it's only going to be there a little while longer, and it's giving us a preview of Jupiter in its dignity, expanding the options to create magic, but also a lot around healing through feeling the emotions and shedding the tears. And over the weekend, Venus, which is currently out of bounds until June 18th, Venus forms a square to Chiron, the wounded healer, and that happens on Saturday, on June 12th, and that can bring a lot of emotional issues up. Again, there will be a lot of endings and major changes for many people that have already been occurring since the total eclipse that occurred on May 26th. A lot of change, a lot of release, and letting go of things. And then again, Mercury retrograde can bring a lot of issues or people from our past, some of which we want to reconnect with and see what they have to say, some of which we want to let go of and finally get closure one way or another. But pay attention to what's coming up for you, because a lot is going on at once. It's very exhausting, and again, your mind can go in many different directions. I was trying to write an article yesterday and I just could not focus, and I wanted to really give it my all, and I just had, my mind was going in many different directions, and that can be really exciting and inspiring, but it can also be very just feeling really confusing and going in many different ways. And I think that's the magic and the challenge of right now, is that there are many options and there is a lot of inspiration, but it can be daunting to focus at times, and part of it is just surrendering and letting it be. And I think that is the wisdom of Pisces, is surrendering, is tapping into your imagination and trusting your intuition, really listening to your intuition. So with all of this said, we've got, again, Venus is squaring Chiron over the weekend. It also forms a sextile to Uranus in Taurus, and that's going to occur late on Saturday, the 12th, early on Sunday, July 13th, Eastern Daylight Time, late on the July 12th time. I think it's around 10:44 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on the 12th, and 1:44 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the 13th of July. And that's very magical energy. But we're also building up to the Saturn-Uranus square that occurs on July 14th at 6:01 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I just neglected to say that the Sun squares Neptune on Sunday, well, it's on Saturday, July 12th. The Sun squares Neptune, so that can dissolve things. And again, that announces many of the the endings and what we're letting go of in this eclipse season. Because with eclipses, often we do let go of certain things to make room for new things in our lives, and there is a lot of change, and people and situations that are hanging on by a thread often do leave our lives in eclipse energy. So it's a lot to process, and I think that's where Jupiter and Neptune and Pisces can make it, but also can facilitate, if I can speak, can facilitate our healing process, because we really do need to feel the emotions. And Jupiter in Pisces also urges us to slow down. And I think with the Aquarian energy, so many of us have been going at such a rapid pace that it just is hard to sustain all the time like that. And I think Jupiter in Pisces is saying, slow down a little bit, rest, restore, and also connect through love and compassion and art and magic. And Jupiter will re-enter Aquarius at the end of July, which is about community and raising your consciousness and elevating your mind, and joining groups and people that are on the same vibration. So a lot to deal with. We are in eclipse season, a lot happening. I wish you all a lot of luck. This is a day to say your intentions. Put pen to paper, write down what you want to manifest, say the words out loud, do affirmations, do the law of abundance. I enclosed a newsletter where I explain how to do the law of abundance. That's in my community section. Also check out your horoscopes for June. A lot is happening. Sun sign and rising sign. A lot of information. Thank you for sharing and subscribing, and take care. Good luck. Bye-bye.